Hi, my name's Kim. I'm the low iodine dietitian. Thank you for buying my Simplified Low Iodine Diet Toolkit. This video is supposed to help you walk through this guide so that you understand all of its features and know how to use it. So I have my screen shared here. I'm going to go through the guide with you. It should be pretty user friendly, but I'd like to highlight some features for you today. So when you get to the table of contents, it is clickable. So all of these will take you to what you need to see. When you're in a meal plan, those are clickable to the recipe. So it will take you straight back to the recipe. And the meal plan overview is not clickable. I will just throw that out there. So you have a table of contents that shows you everything you get. You have a recipe index of all the recipes. These are clickable to get to the recipe if you want to see what it's all about. So they're organized by week. So you have the recipes you use in week 1, week 2, and week 3. There are only a couple recipes that repeat. And in the meal plan, they are not repeated. Like I do not have the recipe in here twice, but the links go to the same recipe, if that makes sense. Then there are a few bonus recipes here. Those are, so I have dairy-free Parmesan. If you can't eat pasta without Parmesan cheese, I'm with you. So here's a dairy-free substitute. Here's a couple bread recipes, granola, and a way to make your own homemade almond milk if that's your jam. So here's how you can, this is probably how you got here to this video. So how to use this toolkit. It is based on an 1,800 to 2,000 calorie diet. If that isn't how many calories you need, I can't personalize this for you. So you can eat to hunger, eat to fullness. If it seems like a lot of food, don't eat as much. If it doesn't seem like enough food, add in some snacks, increase the portion sizes. You can estimate your calories. I've included a link for the Mayo Clinic, how you can estimate your calorie needs. But again, it's an estimate. You should just eat to fullness and how you would portions that you would normally eat. This menu is assuming 4 people. So 4 people for breakfast and 4 people for dinner. For lunch, since I assumed it was kind of 2 adults and 2 kids, then I assumed only the adults needed lunch. So it only provides 2 servings of lunch. Lunch is leftovers every day except the first day, because you don't have any leftovers to eat. So you have to make something that day. But every other day, it's just leftovers of the dinners that you had. There is a blank meal plan if you want more repetition. If you want to move things around based on your schedule, you can do that. But there is the general overview. All of the recipes should require 30 minutes or less of active time from you. Some of them will say a long time because it cooks in the slow cooker. So that's not active time. It's 30 minutes of your time actively cooking. So let's go ahead and look at a week. So here's week 1. It lists breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Here's your days. So like I said, these are clickable, except the leftovers aren't clickable because you shouldn't need to click on it. If it has fruit like fresh strawberries or pineapple or an orange, there is no recipe for those. It's just fresh fruit. You can substitute those out however meets your taste preferences or what's available around you. Vegetables within the recipes can also be subbed out if there's something else you would prefer, like honey garlic chicken with quinoa and asparagus. Don't really like asparagus. Asparagus is really expensive right now. Substitute something out. You can have broccoli, you could have carrots, whatever vegetables you have available to you, you can swap out based on your taste preferences. So let's go ahead and click to a recipe. So here's honey garlic chicken with quinoa and asparagus. So I just want to point out some things. It's going to list all your ingredients and all your directions here, your serving sizes. And I just want to point out a couple things. Oils you can substitute out if you don't have olive oil. If it says avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever it says, you can substitute out whatever you have if that is easier for you. All salt, nut butter, and broth. I am assuming it is, I'm sorry, all salt is non-iodized or kosher salt. It will not say that, but that is what I'm assuming. I didn't just put it in every time. Nut butters, canned foods, and broth are all unsalted. I'll get back to my philosophy on that in a minute, but it's all assumed as unsalted in here. So let's go back to our meal plan for just a second, because I wanted to highlight one other thing. So here on week 1 for spicy sweet potato, turkey, and kale bowls, it says 2 servings. So when we go to that, it now says this recipe makes 12 servings. So the recipes should be scaled to make the amount of food you need for the whole meal plan. So this is enough for that dinner for 4 people plus leftovers. Now you need 2 servings for each person at dinner. So for 4 people, that becomes 8 servings. And then for 2 people at lunch, again, is 4 more. So 8 plus 4 is 12. So that's why it says 12 servings. So you will not have to cook it again, but all the recipes will be the number of servings you need for what the menu assumes of people and serving sizes. So this says you need 2 servings on your meal plan. So often it will say a serving size at the bottom. If it does not, then you just are going to have to portion out and eat up to 2 servings. Again, that is to get you to that 1,800 to 2,000 calories. If you feel like that's too much food, cut back and you'll be okay. But that's just what I wanted to point out. So all the serving sizes are based on how many calories to get to that 1,800 to 2,000 calorie diet. But all the recipes are scaled to make the number of servings that you need to fit what the menu is saying. The bonus recipes that I talked about start on page 66. So here's the dairy-free Parmesan. If you wanted any of the whole wheat or honey oat bread, dairy-free bread, granola, because granola can be really hard to find a low iodine friendly granola. And here, if you wanted to make your own homemade almond milk, is a recipe for you. There are also brand recommendations. So there's a link here to Low Iodine Life. I have only gone over brands that you will mostly need for this meal plan and not a ton of other brands. Those are in the snack handout. On this page, these are brands that I have contacted and they have told me that they use non-iodized salt or their product doesn't use salt. So I prefer to err on the side of an unsalted version. So if there is an unsalted version, I am going to choose that every time. So if there's an unsalted nut butter, no salt added canned beans or tomatoes, unsalted chicken or beef broth, I'm going to go for that every time and add my own salt that I know is non-iodized. But some things there aren't a salt-free version. So I've listed here some brands. Some of these are a salt-free version. Some of them are not, but the brand has told me that they use non-iodized salt. And I did ask about issues during supply chain issues during the pandemic. I will note, please be careful with your dairy alternatives with Silk and So Delicious. So Delicious uses a lot of sea salt, so their yogurt does not have salt in it. That's why it's here. Silk, these yogurts do not have salt. They use sea salt as well. And even their Greek yogurt just lists salt. But when I reached out to them via email, they would not tell me what kind of salt they use. They said that that was a secret. So you want to make sure you only go for Silk and So Delicious things that do not list. For So Delicious, yeah, for both of them that they don't list salt. Sorry. So those are definitely salt free. Then you have your low iodine basics. This is divided up. This is more in depth than my free download that I have available on my website. So if you got that, this is more in depth and it's more organized. So it is tried to be organized kind of the way your shopping lists are in the toolkit so that you can see how it is. I still have the label reading and I have a guide to dining out. So I list several fast food restaurants and what you can eat at those restaurants. And with the exception of Chipotle, Chipotle uses kosher salt, so you can eat almost everything there. So I've listed there the things you cannot eat, which is most of it's fairly self-explanatory: cheese, sour cream, and then the plant-based meats are going to have soy in them. So that's why you can't. And then a tip for eating at other restaurants. So those are most of the things I wanted to highlight in here. Oops, there we go. So after your menu for each week, I forgot to highlight that you will have a shopping list for that week that will show you everything that you need to purchase. So you can look at your, your pantry. Do I have coconut oil? Okay, I'm just going to use oil. So do I have this much of all the oils? Great. Do I have egg whites? Do I have sweet potatoes? Those kinds of things, you can figure it out pretty easily. So that's the main thing. Your bonus content is in a separate PDF that you'll be able to download. And this is mainly your snacks. So it has its own clickable table of contents. Again, it has a snack guide with so many snacks here that don't need a recipe, brand recommendations within it. So all these different things that you can eat as snacks, and then actual recipes for snacks. Again, there's over 30 recipes for snacks here, so you will definitely find something that you want to eat. And then at the end of your bonus, there's tips for recovering from thyroid surgery, some foods to eat, and then here's some tips for dealing with isolation, and then also the side effects of radioactive iodine and hypothyroidism. They kind of can mesh together. If you're hypothyroid, if you've had to withdraw from your medication, it can be a little difficult sometimes to know what the side effect is from, like especially nausea, upset stomach, and constipation. Those can be related. And then the fatigue, depressed feelings, and lack of appetite, that could be from the radioactive iodine. It could be because you're hypothyroid. So either way, here's some tips of what to do. Also, just making sure that you, before you go into radioactive iodine, have a plan with your endocrinologist, or a good way to connect with them of when you can, if you are withdrawing from medication, of when you can up your thyroid medication to get away from those, to help resolve those symptoms as soon as possible. So I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to ask in the Facebook group or message me, email me if you have any questions or concerns. And I hope that this helps you on your thyroid cancer journey, and good luck.